Last call. These are tweets that I'm sure I tweeted or liked at some point that I have not thought about since I tweeted them. These are chosen by Den. Den, what are we talking about in here? I'm going to move this over here. Oh, yeah. So Mary Miller, who is a congresswoman from Southern Illinois, very, very Republican, very MAGA. She said in response to Donald Trump and whatever Republicans have said, we are going back to male and female, and males are not allowed in girls' athletics. They're not going to be allowed in girls' private spaces, which is interesting because Trump totally barged in on women in their private dressing rooms when he was running Miss USA. But again, the Republican Party, as I've said so many times before, the only thing that binds Republicans together is their love of hypocrisy. So, like, you can't play gotcha with them because they don't care. What else we got here? Oh, this is fascinating. So J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, where I'm from, he's kind of been the anti-Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom used to be the guy that a lot of Democrats thought this guy could win a presidency in 2028. And his big thing, and he was great. He would go on Fox News and do debates against Ron DeSantis, moderated by like Sean Hannity. And it's like, you know what? If you need someone to go push back against the right, he's not bad. And now he's doing a podcast where he invites right-wing crazy people onto his podcast and like cheers them on. Doesn't push back against them. I don't know what the hell Gavin Newsom is doing. Meanwhile, J.B. Pritzker, who is a billionaire, and I didn't love that about him the first time he was running for governor, and I didn't vote for him in the primary that year. I don't know, man. He's been great in the state of Illinois. He's been fantastic. And this week he gave a speech for the Human Rights Campaign where he talked about these attacks on LGBTQ people. And I think, Dan, if you could play this clip and we could hear what J.B. Pritzker said.
And in the midst of this existential fight, this battle that seems to consume everything, well, let's not take the soul-sucking path of sacrificing the most persecuted for that which we deem to be most popular. I know that there are transgender children right now looking out at this world and wondering if anyone is going to stand up for them and for their simple right to exist. Well, I am. We are. We will.
Love it, man. You don't have to be afraid of trans people or talking about them. You don't have to cede ground on that front because you think it's going to win over voters who already hate you. Like, the least you could do if you're a Democrat is stand up for civil rights. And I don't get why other Democrats aren't doing this like Pritzker is. But again, I am so warming up to the idea of Pritzker running for president and choosing AOC as his running mate. This is what my fever dream is telling me right now. I'm sure they'll blow up at some point in some horrible way, but it would be funny to me to see AOC, the supposed socialist, running alongside the billionaire. I just think that'd be funny. But Pritzker's been really great about speaking out about this stuff. I hope he keeps doing it. I hope he keeps getting attention for doing it and then gets called to do more interviews at the national level. But that's a clip that went viral. That wasn't even on some TV show. That was just a conference speech he gave. Oh, can't wait to meet you at the art protest. I hope I can go there. I'm not sure I'll be able to, but we'll see. All right, what's this one? This is from AOC. She and Bernie Sanders were doing these rallies at different cities in states. This was in Colorado, but they were expecting a few thousand people maybe, and they've been getting like tens of thousands of people showing up, even though they're not campaigning for anything. They're just showing up and speaking out against Trump and the Republican Party, and they're getting so much, such a positive response. And I still don't get, again, I do not understand why more Democrats are not pushing back as hard as they are, as like AOC is and Bernie is. I don't get why they're not pushing back on this in the same way, because it's a winner. It's a political winner. Who's telling them you should cede ground on trans people and say they're not allowed to play certain sports because that'll win you over? I do not get centrist Democratic like campaign experts who tell them to do the dumbest thing possible. Meanwhile, you have AOC and Bernie giving these rallies where they are getting everyone to show up and do things like this. And again, not even a political season, and they're getting this kind of crowd. What happens when it is a campaign season? And what if they do run? Not Bernie, he's old, but AOC. And what happens when you have more candidates doing more events and you see how much people really hate Elon Musk and Donald Trump? I mean, just today, I believe, Trump rescinded his invitation for Elise Stefanik to be the UN ambassador because he's afraid if she doesn't keep her seat in the House of Representatives, even though she won by a huge margin, Republicans won't be able to keep her seat and Democrats will flip it. Like, yes, when Democrats fight back against this stupid shit, it's a winning political move right now. So more people should do it, and Republicans should be scared. Along those same lines, this is interesting. So the New York Times wrote an article about AOC. They said, with Bernie Sanders unlikely to run for president again, the question now is who will lead the network he built into 2028 and beyond. In interviews, many progressive Democrats said there was one clear leader for the job, AOC. And I would love that. Again, I adore her. But what I don't get is if you are a Democrat and you are trying to get people on your side and you want them to donate money to you and you want them to support your politics, why aren't you copying what she's doing? Because it's working. It rallies the troops. Democrats love her. You could do surveys. JB Pritzker is scoring higher on those because he's speaking out against this stuff. AOC gets scored high because she speaks out against this stuff. You know who people hate right now? Chuck Schumer for caving to Republicans. So I don't understand why, if you are a Democrat and you can't capitalize on all the dumb, horrible, cruel shit Trump and the Republican Party is doing right now, why are you even in this business? Because this should be an easy slam dunk for Democrats. All you got to do is trash Republicans every day, and everyone would love you for it. And very few of them are doing that. So speaking of Pritzker, this is what Pritzker said in a different speech recently. He said, if you think I'm overreacting and sounding the alarm too soon, consider this. It took the Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes to dismantle a constitutional republic. And that's the point. Like Chuck Schumer, who caved in recently and allowed Republicans to keep the government open so they could keep doing horrible things, he made it sound like in interviews, Trump is bad, but it hasn't become like a 5-alarm fire yet. And that's what no one understood. Like, do you not understand we're in a crisis right now? So to Pritzker's credit, not only is he saying we're in the crisis right now, he's making the comparison to Nazi Germany, as he should, because the parallels are there. The historians who study authoritarianism and Nazi Germany are like, yeah, the parallels are there, and it's scary. And again, it's not over hyping any of this. It's not exaggerating the threat. It's just calling it out for what it is, and it's good politics, and I don't know why more people are not doing it. All right, so speaking of that, this is Kat Abughazaleh, who is just announced she's running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District, which currently is represented by a progressive Democrat, Jan Schakowsky, who's also like 80 years old and very clearly 80 years old. And yes, good progressive, votes the right way most of the time. But also, come on, cede ground, like go retire, let younger people take the mantle and push things even more to the left. But what I like about Kat is Kat has spent years studying the right. She's in the same, we never worked together. I don't know her personally. I've never met her, but she's in the same realm of commentary where we spend all day looking at what happens on the right. We look at what Republicans say and do, and we write about that stuff. In her case, when she worked for, I believe, Media Matters, her beat was watching Fox News every night and writing articles about the crazy shit that happened during like Sean Hannity's show or Tucker Carlson's show. So she knows exactly how Republicans talk. And this is her introduction of how she's running for Congress, which again, I think she has said literally 2 months ago, she didn't think she'd be doing that stuff. She wanted to keep talking about what the right's doing, but she felt pressured in a good way. Like, I want to change this shit. I can write about it. I can make videos like this, or I can actually run for Congress and do it. And I want you to watch this video because it's just blunt and honest about the threat we face.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are dismantling our country piece by piece. And so many Democrats seem content to just sit back and let them. So I say it's time to drop the excuses and grow a fucking spine. I'm Abughazaleh, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 9th District. Unfortunately, this party has become one where you have to look to the exceptions for real leadership, as the majority work from an outdated playbook. We need a makeover, which means we need a vision that's bigger than what we've been told is possible. There is absolutely no reason you shouldn't be able to afford housing, groceries, and healthcare with some money left over. Families should have free childcare, Social Security should be expanded, and our inalienable rights shouldn't be dependent on who's in power. That means standing up to authoritarians, not shrinking away when the fight gets tough. And while current Democratic leadership might be fine cowering to Trump, I'm not. I've spent my entire career reporting on the far right and being attacked by them as a result. In fact, just a few months ago, Elon Musk's lawyers deposed me here in Chicago to ask about my mean tweets. Look, I thought comedy was legal again. This is all to say, I'm not scared of standing up to these people. I know how they think, and I know how to beat them. But my campaign itself is going to be different too, because I don't want to wait a year to help people. We're focused on meeting constituent needs with one simple rule. What if we didn't suck? My campaign and I would rather spend our money on book drives and clothing exchanges and public events than fancy fundraisers for rich donors. I also want my campaign to be as transparent as possible. That's why I'll be posting regular videos about the costs and steps of running for office. We all deserve better. We deserve human rights and financial freedom and a party that stands up to authoritarians. We deserve to thrive, not just survive. And I plan to fight for those ideals both on the campaign trail and in Congress. If you want to know more about me and what I believe, you can go to catforillinois.com. I do need to mention that campaigns cost money and ask you to contribute what you can. But I promise your donation will not be wasted on old, ineffective tactics. No spammy guilt trip texts, no focus groups to test my views, and no grifty consultants who care more about their paycheck than actually winning. It's time to challenge the status quo, and if our leaders won't do it, we will. I'm Abughazaleh, and I'm running for Congress because it's time for Democrats to do more.
Again, love it. And even if she doesn't end up winning the primary, and whoever wins the Democratic primary in that district is probably going to be the person who gets to Congress, the idea that someone who has documented, watched what the right wing has done and understands when you're being lied to and understands how they talk to each other and what language they use, and that what people want more than anything else are people who are willing to call that shit out and stand up to it. The more people who run like that and pose a threat to the incumbents in office and push more people to talk like that, that is better for the whole party overall. I will tell you, I donated to her as soon as I found out she was running. And I don't know where this campaign is going to go for her. Again, I wish I knew her. I don't know her personally, but I hope we see more people like this. I think we will in the months ahead, especially as people begin launching their campaigns for Congress and other offices. So more of this, please. No pussyfooting around like we should work with Republicans. I can reach across the aisle. No, don't. No one cares what Republicans have to say. Shut them out and just do good things, because you can't do good things while working with a party that is hell-bent on destroying everything. I want people willing to say that, and I hope all of you support whoever it is in your area that's doing something like that.
Donald Trump.
This is something Kat posted on her website under her policy positions. But this is what she said about LGBTQ plus protections. Some Democrats might be happy to throw trans people under the bus for an interview with Steve Bannon, talking about Gavin Newsom, but I am not. I refuse to meet this GOP smear campaign with anything except unflinching solidarity with the queer community. Now, is that the right political thing to say? Who cares? It's the right thing to say. And again, the more people who speak like that, And Gavin Pritzker, JB Pritzker is someone who has been speaking like that. And I think it's good politics for him too. So again, why aren't more people doing this? They should. This is, if you live in Wisconsin, there's a big race coming up on, I believe it's April 1st. But this is very interesting. There was a special election in Pennsylvania this past week. There were 2 seats up for grabs, I believe. One was in the House of Representatives in Pennsylvania. Democratic district, Democrat was probably going to win. But in the state Senate, where there was an open seat, that was a Republican-held seat, and they've never voted for a Democrat. Like, that should have been an easy Republican seat. But a Democrat flipped it. And according to this tweet here, the Democrat who just flipped that very Trumpy seat in Pennsylvania, what did that person do to win over a very conservative voting base? They made opposition to Elon Musk front and center in the campaign. I forgot the guy's first name, but it was Malone. Malone said Saturday that his campaign volunteers have heard concerns from thousands of voters over Musk's work with the Trump administration to reshape the federal government, which he said has led to benefits for veterans, retirees, and students being cut so Elon Musk can get a tax cut. Josh Parsons, the Republican, might be okay with that, but I am not. On Tuesday, you would get to make the choice between more Musk or the values of this district. And this district, in a very Amish district, said we're voting for the Democrat, which is unbelievable. And by the way, this is the note from Ezra Levin of Indivisible at the top. There is a Wisconsin Supreme Court election next week. That is a big deal. That decides whether they're going to go back to Republican gerrymandering or like civil rights. And in that race, Elon Musk is trying to buy himself that victory. He's donated money to the Republican candidate in that race. And again, what are the Democrats doing in that race? What's the candidate doing in that race? Their ads are all about, if you want Elon Musk to run the state of Wisconsin, all right, you can vote for that guy. But if you want someone who basically fights back against Republicans and Elon Musk, vote for the Democrat. Like, that is their campaign strategy too. I love that Elon Musk is dragging down the entire party. I thought Donald Trump would do that. No, they love Donald Trump because a lot of people are very stupid in this country. But it seems like everyone really hates Elon Musk right now. So great. Again, it's good politics. It's good for the country. Trash Elon Musk, trash Tesla, make him the butt of every joke. He can't handle it because he has thin skin. And his companies they're not wealthy companies because he makes good products. It's because he hypes up the products and people fall for it. And all of a sudden, for Tesla, for example, that bubble is being deflated and it's hurting everything. It's great. This one hits me personally. Like, if you ever meet me in person and you want me to bore you for hours on end while we get coffee, get me talking about the national parks because I love them. And every time I have a break and I can get away from somewhere, I'm just finding a national park and I go hiking for days on end. Yosemite is one of the best. I hope to go hiking on Half Dome later this year if I get my permit to go. I've already entered the lottery. But this one of the things the Trump administration has done is fire a lot of the workers at national parks. Seasonal workers, people who have only been working at these parks for less than a year, which is a lot of their staff because they hire seasonally at a lot of these places. Not everyone's a lifer on staff at these places. And what that means in practice for Doug Burgum, who is the former governor who's now running the Department of the Interior, who is allowing these cuts to happen, is that places like Yosemite are being destroyed because they don't have the staff to make sure everything is running smoothly. If you wanted to get campgrounds in some places, if you just want the trash cleaned up, it's not happening. And if you can't get that stuff happening, you can't even go there unless you know how to get through all the loopholes and everything. And the idea that the national parks, which, by the way, bipartisan, every senator in every state, like every congressperson, will brag about their state's national parks or national monuments or whatever if they have them. The idea that Republicans are allowing our national parks to be destroyed, that hits me personally, but that should piss off way more people who are not usually paying attention to politics. Because for a lot of Americans, it is a family thing to go visit a national park, especially when the weather gets better. And so the idea that they're destroying a place like Yosemite or Yellowstone is just, people are going to feel it this summer, and they should blame the Trump administration for that. This is an interesting clip here. This is, again, people are not happy with Chuck Schumer and the Democratic Party because he caves to Republicans. He still thinks he lives in a world where Republicans are like, their fever is going to break and they're going to ditch Trump. And I don't know, I've been politically cognizant for at least 25 years. And the Republican Party has always been a shit show. They've always been religious extremists. They've never been decent people who care about their own constituents. So I don't know what world he lives in where he thinks, some of these Republicans will reach across the aisle. And what he said here in this interview, if Trump defies the Supreme Court, then we are in uncharted territory. Our entire democracy is at risk. I believe that if Donald Trump should defy the courts, the public will rise up. Democrats will fight it in every single way. Autocrats only succeed if the public lets them. It's a stupid thing to say. One, as I tweeted, Supreme Court's already on Trump's side. I'm worried about the Supreme Court. I'm not worried about Trump defying the Supreme Court. You don't have to defy them if you appointed like the majority of the Republicans on there. But the other thing is, if you defy a lower court, that's not okay either. That's not how the law works. You're not allowed to say, well, I'm going to ignore what the district court said. I'm going to ignore what the appellate court said. All that counts is the Supreme Court. What world do you live in where you say, well, we're a nation of laws, but only if the Supreme Court weighs in on it? And why would you say that when it's this Supreme Court? Utterly stupid. But you could play the clip and watch Schumer like trip over himself in real time.
Look, this is an extraordinary moment. It does require extraordinary action. If he defies the Supreme Court, then we are in uncharted territory that we haven't been in for a very long time. And our entire democracy, this whole beautiful enterprise of democracy that we've had for over 240 years, is at risk. And look, I believe that if Donald Trump should defy the courts, the public will rise up. Democrats will fight it in every single way. And I believe, autocrats only succeed, Kristen, if the public lets them. But if the public is so angry and takes action, and certainly we Democrats will, it will trigger a mass movement from one end of the country to the other, something that we haven't seen in a very long time.
That mass movement is happening, and Schumer's Schumer's one of the only people who has the power to do something to take the baton from all those people who are protesting, but he's not. He doesn't think we're in that crisis. He's waiting for Donald Trump to defy the Supreme Court as if we are not in a crisis yet. I do not understand why Democrats continue to let him be their leader in the Senate, because they could change that whenever they want. But again, that should not be the standard bearer. He is the most powerful Democrat in Congress right now. Hakeem Jeffries in the House is one of the most powerful Democrats, and neither of them seem to talk like they're in a crisis. They keep saying it will happen. The people are gonna get mad. No, they're pissed now. That's why when Bernie and AOC are going on tour and doing their rallies and saying this, and Pritzker is doing it as well, they get applauded and praised. And so many people fall for that message in a good way because they're saying the truth. Chuck Schumer's acting like Republicans are his friends. They're not. I don't know why he doesn't get that. I don't know why he doesn't surround himself with anyone with the guts to tell him that. It doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah, this is Chuck Schumer, too, saying, we will win, we will win. We're losing. And unless you have the person there who can fight back and rally the troops on our side, it's not going to happen. Like most Americans who are not paying attention to politics every day, they're not following the politics of it all. They don't know who to blame for anything, but they like someone who talks like a winner, and Chuck Schumer talks like a loser.
Look, this is an
all right. Last couple things here. I had a Slate crossword this week. If you go to slate.com and search through their crosswords, you can find the one I posted earlier this week. It's fun. Go do it. It includes a hat tip to a show I just watched, which was unbelievable. I won't give that away. And also, if you go to my Bluesky account at friendlyatheist.com, there is a link on there if you want a discount for my newsletter. I hope you subscribe. There's a 20% off coupon if you go through that link, but you could subscribe anyway by going to friendlyatheist.com.